You big dummy.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues It's up to you, New York, New York, New York.
Well, good morning,
If you're
and
trying to lose belly fats.
no, I'm not trying to lose belly fat. I'm trying to gain belly fat for the Slob Olympics. Thank you, though. Good morning, and welcome to the UncleLou show. No, welcome to the morning show with UncleLou. Welcome to the UncleLou show with morning show. Welcome to the morning show with UncleLou. Welcome to UncleLou with the morning show. Welcome to the morning show with me, UncleLou. Got BADDOG coming on in about 10 minutes, too. It's going to be great. Appreciate y'all tuning in this morning. Tuesday morning, and I have some amazing news right at the top of the show. Only a 10% chance of rain here today. That's great news. That is great news. I thought I was going to have to put pontoons on this she shed out here. I was telling somebody last night, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if I got done with this show, walked outside, and I was down the street somewhere. Like I just floated away during the show. Rain nonstop here for 4, 5, 6 days. Thunderstorms even, which is unusual. First of all, rain in general is unusual here this time of year, but thunderstorms are, you never get that here. Now, in the summertime, spring and summertime, we get thunderstorm every day. That's no big deal. Storms every afternoon for an hour, then the sun comes back out. But very unusual in the wintertime. But a lot of places are having some strange weather right now. Snow all over Texas and other places. Anyway, hope y'all are doing okay this morning. But are you doing as good as Gus Malzahn, though? Well, Gus Malzahn, he landed on his feet, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Central Florida, though. Alarming. Tennessee and Auburn fire their coach. Tennessee ends up with someone no one wants, Josh Heupel from Central Florida. Central Florida then goes out and gets Gus Malzahn. Tennessee, it's possible that Tennessee downgraded from Pruitt to Heupel. Central Florida upgraded from Heupel to Malzahn. Y'all think Tennessee even talked to Malzahn? I don't know. We may never know. I do this show 4 mornings a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Call-in show every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, UncleLou After Dark. College football, YouTube's longest running college football call-in show, too. You guys make sure and check that out tonight at 10 p.m. Take some phone calls, talk to you guys, see what y'all talking about. And Lunch Money with me and Pigskin Pete every Monday night at 10. That show's not about anything at all. It's literally about nothing. You can watch an episode or two. If you don't believe me, you'll see how right I am. Last night we had Mrs. Pete on there for about an hour and a half. Her first ever YouTube appearance. It was amazing. You have to remember, she has to put up with Pigskin Pete year-round. She had a lot to say. What else is going on in the news? Besides Gus Malzahn to Central Florida. Tennessee hired a defensive coordinator. It was a coach from Penn State, a position coach. Or I guess maybe he was co-defensive coordinator. I think he was a safeties coach, a defensive backs coach, and maybe a co-defensive coordinator. Tim Banks is his name. Whoopity-doo, I guess. I don't know how much it matters, honestly, who Tennessee hires right now.
Whoopity you!
Don't know that it matters. What else? Texas signed a QB for the class of 2022. I'm sure everyone excited about that. What kind of surgery does Trevor Lawrence have to have? I didn't know about this. What does the Taters have to say about this? What is this? Trevor Lawrence had his pro day. Looked amazing. Trevor Lawrence had a good reason to hold his pro day on Friday, a month early. Lawrence wanted to prove to NFL teams that he's able to handle himself well when things don't go according to plan. The original plan was to have 2 months training out in California, then come back in March and put on a show. But life happens sometimes, Lawrence said. Just having to adjust and showing I'm able to adjust and adapt and still willing to come out here and throw and give teams a chance to see me. That was important to me and important to my team to make sure we made that happen. Lawrence moved up his pro day because he's scheduled to undergo surgery to repair damage to his labrum in his left shoulder. That's his non-throwing shoulder. And wanted to be completely cleared before training camps open in July. He threw approximately 40 passes, mostly from under center, at Clemson's indoor practice facility. Lawrence said he's expecting to start throwing 6 to 8 weeks after the surgery and be fully cleared after 4 to 5 months. This isn't going to matter. The Jaguars are drafting Trevor Lawrence. Surgery, no surgery. Let's just be honest. Mountaineer Mike, thank you for hitting the super chat this morning, sir. He says, we know you don't pull up. Do you pay it forward? Yeah, I have done that a lot of times. I don't know if I've ever done it in the drive-thru, though. Oh, well, I have done it in the drive-thru, but I've never been the one that started it in the drive-thru. I've gone through the drive-thru, and they tell you, oh, the person ahead of you paid yours. And I'll say, okay, well, let me pay the person behind me then. I've never started it through the drive-thru, though, but there's been a lot of times where I've been in a restaurant eating and have paid someone else's bill that's in the restaurant, usually military people. If I see some people in there and some servicemen or women in their uniform. I may have done it some other times, too, for other people, but I specifically remember paying for servicemen and women on several occasions in a restaurant. Just not telling them, just telling the waitress or the waiter or whoever to bring me their bill, and I pay their bill. I have done that. So I think that should count as paying it forward. So I think I'm gonna say yes to that question. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. How's that? Is that the right answer? Yes, it was. Good. Good. What are you guys up to today? Most of y'all were off yesterday, weren't you? Had the holiday. Mike Reiser, thank you for hitting the PayPal link this morning, sir. He says a Pitt fan has 3 famous lies, so pay attention. 3 famous lies from the Pitt fan. Number 1, I own that truck. Number 2, she's not my sister. Pitt fans are inbred too. See, it's not just a Southern thing, people. See, this guy says Pitt people, Pittsburgh type people are inbred. He says. And number 3, I was just helping that sheep over the fence. So again, not a Southern thing. Northern people do it with their sheep too. So I really don't want to hear it. You northern people are weird, doing it with your sheep and your sisters and whatnot. That's just strange. Who's in here today? Scott Kerr is in here. Leroy Jenkins, Steve Cruzberg, Sports Production, The Bet, Mountaineer Mike, Georgia Pyro Dog, Glitter Gator, what's up, buddy? Melon Matt, Christy, good morning to you. Go Tigers 504. D4 Sports. D4 Sports, a fellow slob Olympian. Morning to you, D4. C-Dog Morgan is here, yesterday's guest. C-Dog, I wish I would have played your training video on yesterday's morning show. I played it on I played it on Lunch Money. Sorry. I played it on Lunch Money last night. That's the best Slob Olympics training video ever made. Hands down. And there's been some good ones. Everybody's has been good, honestly. But yours was the best, sir. All right. Moment you've all been waiting for. Bad Dog, good morning, sir.
Happy Tuesday in that.
Yeah, what an honor and a privilege to have you on the morning show, though.
It is my honor and privilege to be here, sir.
You made it through yet another 24-hour stream this past weekend. How many of those have you done now?
That was my fourth one that we completed this weekend.
Does it get any easier?
It does not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It really does not.
Yeah, I guess staying up 24 hours straight once or twice a year, I guess that doesn't really train your body to get used to that, huh?
I don't know if anybody could ever get used to that, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, you were wide awake at the end, though. I mean, you definitely made it without, no problem.
Yeah, it definitely helps to have guests on the channel help keep you awake. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. What was the toughest stretch this time? Time of day.
It is always like the last 4 hours because even when I stream the Laker games at night, and I'm not going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, I get up at 4:30, so I get 4 hours of sleep a night at the worst or at the least. So it's always that last 4 hours is incredibly tough.
Yeah. Yeah. But like a champ, you pulled through, no problem.
No, I try. It's for a good cause. So there's no. I always say there's no quitting me. That's
right.
Not happening.
That's true. That's a fact.
I appreciate you coming on the channel, though, man. That's always. I always appreciate that because you're pretty much a regular on those 24-hour streams. So I always appreciate you taking some time out of your. I know you're very busy and important, like myself. So I appreciate you taking time to do that.
All joking aside, I look forward to you doing those 24-hour streams because I do like coming on, talking with you, and cutting up.
Yeah.
We always talk a little bit of football and a little bit of whatever else we want to talk about. We always have a good time when I come on there. That was fun.
Yeah, it's always good.
I was extremely disappointed in your cheese answer, though.
Somebody liked that answer too. I was like, well, I'm Italian. I mean, I don't know.
I guess that does make sense. That you chose mozzarella. But clearly, pepper jack.
There's nothing wrong with a good pepper jack, though, at all.
Right. Yeah. So what's going on with you? It's the off season. Well, first of all, for those, I don't know if any of these people exist, but if anybody doesn't know who Bad Dog is, he's been doing YouTube for a long time, much longer than I have. He's a New York Giants football fan, a Knicks basketball fan, a Yankees baseball fan, and he has a very successful channel. I think most of you probably are familiar with him. He does a lot of live streams, a lot of hangouts. He does a lot of NFL and New York Giants videos. You guys make sure you sub him up. I'm going to put the link to his channel in the comment section now. But if you guys are not subscribed to Bad Dog, first of all, I don't know what's wrong with you. But you can easily fix that problem by clicking this link right here and subscribing to Bad Dog. Rough year for your Giants.
When isn't it a rough year for the Giants? The sad thing is this was their best year since 2016.
Yeah. How did they? Now you weren't very high on the Giants heading into the season, so I don't, at least from what I can remember. So I don't think it's like you were hugely disappointed. But how did they end up versus your expectations? Do you do like a record prediction at the beginning of the year?
I do. I actually picked them to go 6-10, so they finished exactly where I thought they would.
Okay. Did you know that the NFC East would be such a complete and total joke?
No. Well, I mean, before the year started, I said I didn't think any team in this division would win more than 10 games, but I was thinking that they'd go 9-7. None of the teams in this division are very good. I knew that going in. Also, we had an incredibly tough schedule. Playing the AFC Central, they have a lot of good teams, and the NFC West has a lot of good teams. So I knew that the schedule is really brutal, but I never thought it would be historically bad. The fact that the Giants are 6-10 and went down the last game of the season to see if they could win the division, it made it fun. It made it more frustrating than normal, but that's the life of a Giants fan these days, I guess.
If you had to compare the 2020 NFC East to a Power 5 conference, which one would it be? And why is it the Pac-12?
Oh. Because they both suck. I guess that would be why.
Did it make you? I think I know the answer, but if you have a crystal ball and you know your team is going to suck in a given year, does it give you any comfort that every other team sucked too? Like, you take pleasure in watching the Cowboys crap to bed, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No, it the fact that the Eagles are really poor and they're going to be really poor for years to come, that warms my heart for sure.
I mean, it could have been worse. You could have watched one of those teams make a playoff run or something. I mean, that would have been horrible. That would have salt in the wound type of thing.
I had to deal with that in 2017.
Yeah.
I had probably the worst year of my life watching football since 1984. So, yeah, it wasn't good. No one likes to see their rivals win the whole thing.
Yeah. Has there been a team? The Eagles had that Super Bowl year, and now they're irrelevant. Is there a team that has been so far up and then so far down so quickly? I mean, I guess maybe you look at the Patriots this past season. They were pretty bad too, and
Yep.
they were good not that long ago. But it is the Eagles. I don't know if they completely came out of nowhere, but that was a surprise to me that they won with a backup quarterback. Really, they won that year, and now they're just they can't seem to get out of their own way.
It happened to the Giants too. 2011 they won the whole thing. 2013, 2014 they were bad. But it happens quick in the NFL. I mean, if you don't draft right, and you don't, for the salary cap and everything, bad contract, it catches up to you fast. And that's pretty much happened to the Giants. The year they won the Super Bowl last, they had a bad draft that year, and then it catches up to you. You can't draft poorly and then cover it up with free agency because of the cap. So if you're drafting bad, you're going to be a bad team. That's just what it is. And the Giants, I would say up until this season, they drafted poorly since 2011.
College is that way with recruiting. You have the transfer portal, which is the college version of free agency. The transfer portal cannot make up for multiple bad recruiting classes. The transfer portal, like free agency, can fill a hole. It can't fill 5, 6, 7, 8 holes. You have to draft well. In the NFL, you have to recruit well, and in college, free agency and the portal is great for a spot need here or there, or maybe some depth here or there. But relying on that as a way to build your team, not a very good idea.
Right. No, it's definitely not.
Who did you you picked Brady to win the Super Bowl, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't bet. I will not bet against that guy unless he's playing the Giants. I will not bet against Brady. You win more than you lose. That's just how I look at it.
There's a lot of NFL fans that just hate Tom Brady so much, for jealousy or whatever it is, or that he's beat their team so many times or whatever. But you're not really that way. I mean, you have no problem recognizing Tom Brady's greatness. I've heard you talk about it a bunch of times.
Yeah, well, he's one of my favorite players of all time. So I I say that all the time. I've never understood. People say he cheats. And, I'm like, well, he didn't set up the cameras at Spygate.
Right.
And what a lot of people seem to forget with the, whole the deflated footballs or whatever is that if you go back and watch that game against the Colts, supposedly the first half is when the footballs weren't the correct PSI. Well, they didn't play well in the first half at all. The Patriots played terrible. In the second half, they just ran the ball down the throat. Like Eric Blount had 158 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game. So what does that have to do with the PSI of the football? So I think people just look for excuses that hate the guy. But, love him or hate him, you have to appreciate the guy's greatness. I mean, the guy has more Super Bowl titles than any franchise in the history of football. He's pretty special,
Yeah.
So I think you just have to appreciate what this guy's done. It's ridiculous how good he is. He's a winner. I mean, I'm inspired by winners, man. I'm inspired by greatness. I'm not going to hate on that.
How much more does he have?
How much more I don't know. He's not human. That's the other thing, man. The guy's my age, so you got to root for the older guys. I don't know. He's not a human being. I think he's a vampire, honestly.
Yeah. Who retires first? Nick Saban or Tom Brady?
Wow. I'm gonna go with Brady.
Yeah, I think so too. Nick Saban, God, it seems like every year I come on here and say, I think Saban's got a couple of years left. And then next year I say the same thing. Like I constantly give a 2-year cushion. Like the guy never slows down.
I know. Well, that's what the greats do. They could leave, but they're driven by that competitiveness. I mean, they're saying the same thing. I mean, if you obviously, fans of the SEC aren't going to be, if you're not a Bama fan, obviously you hate them, but you got to appreciate how great Saban is. I mean, he's unbelievable.
Usually the first thing to go with a college coach, and I'm not trying to compare Alabama to South Carolina. Clearly, that would be ridiculous. But they had Steve Spurrier for a while. And for South Carolina, it was a big hire. It was a big name, a national title winning coach. But a couple of years before he actually quit coaching, he quit recruiting. He lost interest or motivation or desire or will or drive or whatever you want to call it. And, so by the time he quit, the cupboard was bare. But you look at Nick Saban, I mean, that part of it's not even slowing down. And that's usually the grind of college football that will wear on somebody first, is the nonstop 365-day a year, every year recruiting grind that you have to go through. I mean, you can't take a week, 2 weeks off from recruiting or you just fall behind. And the guy... Tom Brady's not human, and Nick Saban's not human. I mean, every 11 out of the last 13 years, the number 1 recruiting class, and showing no signs of slowing down. And you can say, well, he's got a great staff, and they recruit too. Yeah, but that staff turns over completely every 2 years. Mm-hmm. Leadership flows down from the top. I mean, Saban's not going to hire somebody or put up with somebody who's not willing to put in the same 100 hours a week that he puts in at the age of 75, or however old he is. I mean, it's just unbelievable. To be watching Brady and Saban at the same time, even and you clearly appreciate what Brady is doing. I think it's going to be years down the road before we fully comprehend how great both these people are at what they do. I mean, you're talking about these two people might be the best ever at their jobs in human history.
Yeah, I obviously the big reason they succeed is work ethic. But if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to work as hard. So it's obvious that guys like Brady and Saban absolutely love what they do. I mean, that's the thing. And there's just those guys. Whether you're a football coach, football player, whatever you're doing, there's type of people in life are going to succeed. That's just how it is. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you have a really good work ethic and you enjoy what you do and it shows, you're going to succeed. You can't be one of these people that makes excuses for everything and expect to succeed. It's not the way life works. So these guys just do it at the highest level.
I was happy to see Tom Brady celebrate a little bit after this Super Bowl win too.
Yeah, it was good. I think that made people like Brady a little bit more. It humanized him more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the guy had to get carried. Who among us hasn't had to be carried off a boat? You know?
Yeah. Well, there's probably there might be a couple of people that had to get carried off a boat, but I don't know how many of them are throwing the Lombardi Trophy to another boat. That probably hasn't happened.
Yeah. That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I liked seeing him. I liked seeing him enjoy that.
He should.
Yeah. How much money could anybody have made if there would have been a prop bet on this game that said Kansas City will not score a touchdown? What would the odds on that have been?
Oh, God, they had to be
50,000 to 1? Yeah.
It had to be. Because even if you're getting blown out, usually a team scores a garbage one at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be high.
I did pick Kansas City just because I had picked them in the preseason, and I wasn't going to change my mind just because another team was on a roll. But I mean, 3 road playoff games. People talk about, it was a home game for the Super Bowl. Yeah, but 3 road wins to get there. I mean, you know how it's hard to win one. It's hard to win a regular season road game. Never mind 3 straight playoff games against what is 3 of the best teams in the league, or they wouldn't be in the playoffs. Well, except for that first one when they played Washington. But I mean, has that ever happened before? Do you know?
Yeah, the Giants did it. The Giants did it in 2007 and 2007. They did. They went into Tampa Bay, beat them. They went to Dallas, beat them. They went to Green Bay where it was 20 below, beat them, and then they went to Arizona, beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So that has been done.
That is hard to do.
I think the 1980 Raiders also did it. They were the first wild card team to win.
1980 was a great year. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Well, I mean, you're reminded of it every day of your life, so it probably is hard to forget.
Yeah, I did pick the Chiefs. I wasn't surprised that Tampa Bay won. I was surprised that it was basically a blowout and not even a competitive game. That did surprise me. I didn't think anybody could stop Kansas City's offense. I thought maybe you slow them down, get a couple of stops, a turnover if you're lucky, and score in the fourth quarter to beat them type of thing. I didn't see that coming at all.
No, that's the old adage: defense wins championships.
Yeah.
Look at the quarterbacks that they beat. They beat Drew Brees. They beat Aaron Rodgers. They beat Pat Mahomes. Pretty good group of quarterbacks right there that they went through.
Unreal. Unbelievable. What else is going on in the world of Bad Dog?
Well, not much. I'm on vacation this week. Thank God. I got to recover a little bit yesterday. Like I said, this weekend I did the Laker game on Friday night, so I got to bed about 1 a.m. Did that 24-hour stream, and then came back Sunday night, did another Laker game. So yesterday I got to recover a little bit, which was nice. I was going through some older UncleLou videos yesterday, and I come across the old Walmart one, which is one of my favorites. What do you think about? I was thinking about this for like the Slop Olympics. You should do like a scooter race.
Well, that's a possibility because there is one slob Olympian who who has a rascal scooter.
There you go.
Yeah, so Mike Vick, the Vic Tube Productions guy, he has a scooter and he'll be there. So I asked him if he could bring a wagon and attach it to the back of it, and that's how I was going to do my 40-yard dash, was sitting in a wagon while he pulled me the 40 yards. But he said no, he doesn't have a wagon that he can attach to it. But that's going to be something.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that, man. That's hilarious. That is very good. But so who do you think is the Auburn favorite to win the old Slob Olympics?
Well, there are some physical events and some mental events. So I'm looking for the person who's sort of maybe they're like, I'm not the smartest person who also weighs 500 pounds, and not the most athletic person who's also dumb as a rock, but like the person that is closest to the mean, in both areas. And so I'm thinking maybe somebody like a Pigskin Pete.
Right. That's a good pick.
He appears to be in pretty good shape, and I don't, I don't know how. He doesn't strike me as dumb, so I think he's got a pretty good shot in some of the mental events too.
Gotcha. Are you going to have like a betting line before the Slam Olympics? Give odds of these guys.
I'm not going to set the odds up myself because I don't want to be accused of fixing anything. But I think there have already been some bets made within the comment section, like on who will do better in certain events between certain people and things like that. So
very nice. That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, I think DVD told me that Pigskin Pete smokes. So.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought DVD mentioned that to me. So that always hampers you in the physical events.
Yeah. Now, the only event I can think of that might be an issue would be the 40-yard dash. And that's not like you're running a mile. So I don't know. A smoker can probably run 40 yards, I would think. I don't know.
That's true. If you don't run, though, at all, 40 yards can be like a mile.
Well, yeah.
Like,
that's true.
Our boy Chess might struggle a little bit with that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he can run 40 yards. Remember when you were in high school or middle school and the PE teacher would be in a bad mood, so he would just make you run the track for an hour or something, and you always had half the class that would just start walking after about 5 minutes? I think that's Chess.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know if he can run the 40.
Yes. Well, I can say this. Somebody, it might have been BBD again, said Chess might not run that. Chess, if you're listening, and I doubt he is sleeping, I'm sure, but if he's watching the replays, his ass better be running the 40. You don't quit.
Yeah.
You're going to run that damn thing.
I know I can run the whole 40. I don't know what, as far as like a time, I don't know, 6.5 seconds, something like that for me would be my guess.
As long as you do it. That's all that matters. Finish. Always finish. You know what you need to have? And I don't know if you do have this. I don't know if you have all the events now, but in the future, especially for this channel, you need a potato sack race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
A few potatoes out there.
That sounds dangerous. Which would have been great. Yeah, would have been great. We got, what do we have? I mean, we've got the 40-yard dash, the shoe throw, which is a distance event, but there's some mental involved in that too, because you have to provide your own shoe. It's not just, everyone's not throwing the same shoe, so there's some strategy involved there. In other words, I wouldn't recommend bringing a flip-flop to throw for distance.
Right.
So there's some strategy involved. Maybe someone shows up with a steel-toed boot for the extra weight. I don't know. Maybe there's some shoe that's more aerodynamic. I don't know. So there's some strategy involved with the shoe throw, distance, of course, IQ test, and spelling bee. Now, what do you think about this spelling bee? Now, we're going to start with 5th grade words. Mm-hmm. And as people get eliminated or keep getting words right, we're going to move up then to 6th grade, 7th grade, whatever. Out of 10 or 11 contestants, how many people do you think will be eliminated by a 5th grade word?
I'm going to go with like 5. I mean, like half.
I think so too. And some of those words, if you watch those spelling bees on TV when they come on ESPN once a year or whatever, some of those 5th grade words are hard. So
they are.
I'm just throwing that out there now.
But I can definitely see some 5th grade words.
Yeah. Now here's an event that you would win, no question, if you were coming. Most amount of push-ups in 60 seconds. Now I know you work out on a regular basis. Most of us slob Olympians don't. So like for me to even guess how many I could do in 60 seconds, I have no clue. How many push-ups do you think you could do in 60 seconds?
I'm guessing probably I'm maybe between like 50 and 60. I guess somewhere in there.
Do you think are you
a second? I think.
Are you in good enough shape to where you could keep the same pace for 60 seconds on a push-up thing, or would it get harder for you towards the end?
It would definitely get harder.
Okay.
It would definitely get harder at the end. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say I can do 22.
something to shoot for. So
Yeah.
I wonder who's well. That's another one. I want to see. I want to see Chess do some push-ups.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think there's anybody that can't do any in 60 seconds? Not even one. Maybe Chess Hall.
Maybe. I don't know. I think no. That's push-ups are hard, man. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
What about BVD?
Yeah.
How many push-ups can BVD do in 60 seconds?
I think BVD might be able to pump out 5.
Ooh.
Yeah. Setting the bar high for BVD.
Yeah. You better start practicing. I don't know. It might be too late.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. We're doing a football throw for accuracy. So, I don't know, trying to throw the ball into a trash can or something. We'll figure that out. But that one's hard to judge because you can be I'm not saying this is the case, but like it could be that Chess Hall is the most accurate football thrower among us. Well, I mean, that's something that you could be 1,000 pounds and still throw a football into a trash can, maybe. So I literally have no idea who is going to excel at that and who's going to be terrible. I have no clue.
Yeah, that's tough. Same thing with the shoe throw. You know, you might want to bring a couple of different types of shoes depending on the weather. I mean, I know somebody said that Celine would be throwing a Croc. Well, you know, if you have a tailwind, a Croc might be a good idea. You know.
Yeah, if a Croc or something like that were to get caught up in the wind, that thing could really sail on you.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
So there is a lot of strategy.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. We'll have a good time. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to walk through the College Football Hall of Fame, which will be a lot of fun for all of us on a serious note. Have you ever been to in the Northeast? The Baseball Hall of Fame is where? Where is that?
Yes.
Somewhere up there. Where is that?
It's in Cooperstown. Which is it's near Oneonta, which is it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. But the Baseball Hall of Fame is probably, it's like a 90-minute drive from where I am. I've been there a number of times. I absolutely love it. Since I'm a huge baseball fan, but I am collecting baseball cards and everything else. I absolutely love Cooperstown. I haven't been there in a while.
I haven't.
So
I went one time.
BADDOG, it's low.
I was in.
What's that?
I went one time. I think I was in 7th grade, and I went. So it's been forever since I've been.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring little BADDOG in a couple of years.
You ever
actually appreciate it?
You ever been to the NFL Hall of Fame?
I have not.
Yeah, me either.
I've only went to Ohio once. Went to Cleveland. That's quite a ways from Canton, so I have not been there yet.
Yeah.
Been to the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's in Springfield, Massachusetts. I've been there, but I've never been to. I haven't been to Canton yet.
Would it, you liked the Baseball Hall of Fame better than the NBA? You think I know you're a basketball fan, but you're a huge baseball fan, right?
Yes, yeah. There's no doubt. I love the Baseball Hall of Fame. So
yeah,
I'm a historian of a lot of things, and that's a big reason. I just love the history of baseball. So just going in there and seeing the uniform that Ty Cobb wore, that Babe Ruth, all that stuff it's just awesome. I mean, that museum's amazing.
Mountaineer Mike, thank you for the super chat. He says, how is it the Slob Olympics without an eating or drinking competition? That's a great question, and I completely get it, that the first thought anyone would have when you even hear the term Slob Olympics would be some type of eating or drinking. But as much as I'm all for someone embarrassing themselves by only being able to do one push-up in a minute or something like that, we pretty much all agreed at the very beginning on no eating or drinking type things that's going to make someone sick and ruin the rest of the day or whatever like that. Like, somebody gorging down 20 hot dogs or something in a minute. I mean, we didn't want to do that. And then we thought about maybe doing like some kind of hot sauce thing or something, but in the end, we just decided pretty much right away, no eating and no drinking. Now, when we all go out to eat later that night, if two people want to see who can eat 12 wings the fastest or whatever, if something like that comes up, and it might, then that's great. But that won't be an actual part of the competition of the Slob Olympics. We're not trying to get everybody sick up there. I mean, we're already going to be dealing with pulled hamstrings and God knows what else, So we didn't need all that extra aggravation. So that was the thought process. That was the thought process on that.
That makes sense. I mean, you want to enjoy yourself. I mean, you want to have friendly competition. You want to, have a few laughs for sure. But yeah, you don't want anybody to be ruining the weekend by being sick.
Yeah,
definitely not. I've seen a lot of comments in the chat about how cold it is. What's the weather down there?
Today it's not bad. It was 60 when I came out today, 60 degrees. But it's been cold here for the last week or so, and by cold I mean like 45 degrees and rainy. But I mean that's cold for here. I know that's not cold for you. BADDOG's in northern New York for those of you that don't know, but so I know that's not cold for you. But there has been a lot of weird weather down here in the South over the last week. I mean, Texas is pretty much shut down due to snow and ice. Arkansas, Mississippi, a lot of states like that dealing with some weird weather for down here.
Yeah. I saw Dallas was supposed to get like 4 to 6 inches. I said, oh, there you go. Get a taste of New York. And we sweep that off the sidewalks. That's not
right
up here. It's 4 to 6 inches, nothing. Get a broom, fine.
So do you, how often, I mean, do you, like in the movies, you see people that go outside and they have to spend an hour at 6 o'clock in the morning shoveling their driveway and stuff like that. Like, do you have to do that up there?
Yes, we do. That's
got to be, I mean, I don't even like walking to the car here when it's 40 degrees and sunny. I can't imagine having to go outside at 5 or 6 or whatever time and shovel. I mean, how long does it take you to clear your driveway out on a bad snow day to where you can even get your car out of the driveway or what? I mean, we're talking 30 minutes, an hour? Like,
it depends on how much it is, but a lot of times it is half an hour out. And then you got to brush your car off to warm your car up. It does. It sucks.
That's gotta be awful.
No, if it's really bad, I mean, I don't have to go to work. They'll shut my department down. I can just work from home. But like we had 36 inches of snow up here in the middle of December this year. That took me like 6 hours to shovel that. So you can't just go down to the bottom and pick up a scoop and shovel. You have to shovel it like 3 times, literally,
right,
to get it out of your driveway. And then the plow comes by and shoves all the wet stuff from the road into your driveway, and that weighs a ton. So yeah, it's great. It builds character.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know that I could. I don't know that I could deal with that. But you were born in that area, right? And I mean, lived there forever, hadn't you?
Yes, I've lived here since I was like 3, so I'm pretty much used to it.
Yeah. Are you going to be one of these? Are you going to be one of these New York people that? Well, first of all, I don't think you're ever going to retire. But would you ever move from there?
I will retire. Well, when I'm able to collect my pension, I'm done. But yes, I'm moving south. I don't know where. I don't know if it'll be Florida. I don't know if it'll be South Carolina. Might even be Georgia. It'll be one of those states probably. Is all of your immediate family still in that same area, or have they spread out over the years? Well, I mean, my father passed away a few years ago, but he actually moved to Charleston, South Carolina. Oh, nice. But that was it. Yep, everybody else is still here. Did you ever go visit him there? Have you ever been? So you've been to Charleston? It's a nice area, right? Yeah, I love it. Yeah. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, Pete's from that area. I'm actually going to Charleston this weekend. From Lou Jr. has a. We finally broke down and put Lou Jr. in one of these traveling soccer leagues, and so he's got tournaments every weekend all over the place down here. And the first one is this coming weekend in Charleston. So I'll be down there this weekend. But that's a nice area down there. They've got. It is very nice. They've got some nice beaches. They've got like the old town. Area. I mean, it's just a nice area, Charleston. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought about it. That's until I went down there. I'm like, yeah, I could see myself retiring here. Was there a reason your dad picked Charleston? My stepmother wanted to move down there, so they moved down there. Yeah, I forget how long ago. My father passed away, 5 years ago? It'll be 6 years. Wow, time flies. 6 years ago in July, so I think he lived down there for 4 years. So maybe 10 years ago they moved down there.
Yeah.
And I wish I did now, but can't. Not yet. Not yet. Give me 15 years.
Yeah.
Although my
And
wife's a lot younger than me. So
Mrs. Bad Dog is on board with this, or you've yet to run this by her about moving down south.
I've talked about it, but Mrs. Bad Dog and I have got, like I said, about 15 to 20 years to plan it. Still, always got time. Because by then my son will be grown up, and
What's he into these days?
Anything he can get his hands on. Makes a mess. He's 3. It's just, yeah.
He's how old now? You said
He's
3?
the best. Yeah, he'll be 4 in April.
Okay. So it's almost baseball time.
Yes.
You have to be excited for that, right?
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things when you first become a parent, there's a list of things a mile long, most of which you look forward to, some of which you dread, like them turning 16 and driving and the not being able to, oh my God, all that kind of stuff. But like for me, my daughter was born first, and so that was exciting. But when my son was born, like one of the first thoughts in my head was, I cannot wait to throw football, throw baseball, kick the soccer ball in the yard, watch him play a baseball game, a basketball game, whatever the case. I mean, it's as a I think all dads sort of have that down in them somewhere. But when when you're a sports guy like you are, like I am, or whatever, it's hard to explain to someone who doesn't get it, like how much you look forward to that. You have to be just, beside yourself waiting on the day where you can watch him come up to the plate and hit a ball or something, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. It's funny. His personality. My wife always like, man, that kid he is me. Everything he does, even the way he sits. Like I always sit with my legs like my Indian style. It's just a habit for me to sit like that. But every time he sits down, he's the same way. It's hilarious. When I was his age, I remember, like, I was a big actor. Like, I would act out scenes in movies and all this other stuff. He does the same thing. Like, it's just hilarious. I got into sports, when I was 8 years old, so 1984. I really got into them the next year. In 85, I really started paying attention to everything. I played t-ball when I was a kid, but then I didn't play baseball afterwards. When I was 9, I really got back into it again because of Tom Mattingly. I wanted to play baseball because of Tom Mattingly. But, so I would say probably about that age. I think 8 or 9 for him, because he's really going to get into it. I try to sit him down and watch something. He'll watch it for like a couple minutes, and then he has to put something else.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for the day that we can sit down and just watch it together. That'll be fun.
Yeah, there's, like I said, if you're not a parent, you don't get it. But there's a list of, almost a never-ending list of things a mile long that you look forward to doing for the first time with your kid. And for a guy with a son, sports it's just it's impossible to describe, but it's amazing.
Yes, right now the thing I'm looking forward to is just getting him out of diapers for good. That would be nice. Yeah.
How's that coming along?
He's just so lazy, man. Like he's just lazy all the time now. Like, will you use the potty? I want to use the potty.
What's great is, and I don't remember the age that Lou Jr. was doing this, but he finally got to the point where, especially during the day, he didn't have to wear a diaper. And he knew, okay, I need to go to the bathroom, and he would either tell someone or he would just go or whatever. And if he had to pee, it was fine. And maybe you go in there afterwards and wipe the seat off and see what kind of mess he made or whatever. But it was no big deal. But there was a period of time where he was able to go number 2, no problem, but he couldn't wipe his ass.
Yes.
And so he would go in there and he would go to the bathroom, and when he was done, he would stand up and he would yell, "I'm done!" And and you'd walk in there and he would just be bent over with his ass in the air, and you'd have to go in there and wipe his ass. Oh my God, he would kill me if he ever heard me do that, because we talk about that still just amongst us and at home or whatever. Sometimes something will come up and his sister or me or his mom will go, "I'm done," and he'll just say, "Shut up."
Yeah. Well, listen, as a parent, that's your job. So,
Right.
when Lou Jr. is bringing home the ladies, that's always a story you tell his girlfriend.
Yeah.
My mother used to do that type of thing to me all the time. So I'm just like, okay, Mom, do we really need to talk about what I did when I was 7? Does she really need to know that?
Yeah. Yeah, and
There's
telling
nothing my wife
embarrassing
doesn't know at this
stories,
point.
telling embarrassing
Yep.
stories about him. Yeah, that's like their biggest fear. Anytime they have a friend coming over or something, whether it's just like a play date thing in the afternoon or they're spending the night or whatever, they always give us that, don't embarrass me. And my daughter's at the age now where she's hanging out with boys a lot. In
Right.
fact, she had a boy over to the house a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't really know. It was kind of strange. It was the first time it's happened. So, but he came in and I stood up and introduced myself and all that. I never took my sunglasses off. I just kind of stared at him. But you know what was weird? This kid's in 8th grade. She's in 8th grade. My daughter is. This boy was in 8th grade. He's 6'2". I'm just going to be honest. This kid could whoop my ass if he wanted to. So I don't know what I really would do, but he plays baseball, basketball, football. He's 6'2". His dad's a police officer, and I'm trying to intimidate him, and I'm looking up at this kid.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, he's a big old boy. A big old boy.
Yeah. Does your daughter still want a Jeep? I remember you mentioned that.
Oh, yeah.
It was last year, a couple years.
Yeah, she still wants the Jeep. She talks about it all the time. And it's weird, too, because I remember when I was that age, whatever car I wanted today, I wanted a totally different car next week. And I probably changed my mind 100 times. She has wanted a Jeep as long back as I can remember. When she was 5 or 6 years old and we got her first Power Wheel or whatever, she wanted a pink Power Wheel Jeep. And so that's what we got her, and it has not changed. She has not wavered from wanting a Jeep, and she's 14 now. So we've started having to talk, really start to plan out. Okay, what are we going to do here? Because we don't want to wait till she's 6. We want whatever car she's going to get. We want to get when she's 15, so she can learn to drive on the car that she's actually going to be driving when she's 16. So it's not that far away, and so we've had to actually start thinking about it now. And I sat her down the other day, and I told her we'd go look at we'd go out and look at some Jeeps. But Jeeps are expensive, especially down here. Jeeps are for what you get for the money. Jeeps are very expensive down here. We're gonna, when it gets a little bit closer, we're gonna take her out, and we're gonna okay, this is what. If you want a Jeep, this is kind of what you can get. Or if you're willing to drive a Ford Explorer or some other type of SUV, maybe you can get one a couple of years newer. And we're going to let her look, because I don't think she's ever even seen the inside of a Jeep. She just likes the way they look riding down the road. And I like Jeeps too, but they don't have the inside of a Jeep isn't as nice as really what she's used to seeing on the inside of a car. And it may be that when she sits in a Jeep, because maybe, I don't know, maybe we get her a Jeep that's 5 or 6 years old, or we tell her you can have a Ford Explorer that's 2 years old. It might be a lot nicer to you on the inside. So we'll take her and look. But yeah, she hasn't changed from wanting that Jeep.
Yeah, and sometimes you have your heart set on something so much, and you get it, and it's like, it's not exactly what I thought it would be. So I don't know. Time does fly, man. I'm just thinking about she's almost old enough to drive. How tall is Lou Jr. now? Like, Lou Jr. is not.
No.
Well, like when you started doing YouTube, how old was Lou Jr.?
Oh God, he was 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was my son's age. So it's just crazy because I can remember seeing him, when you used to do the videos on your back porch, and he was a toddler.
Yeah. And it seems like he hasn't my daughter has had a couple of growth spurts over the last several
Right.
years. My daughter is as tall as Mrs. Lou now. She's pretty tall. It seems like Lou
Right.
Jr. has not grown in about 3 years. He's always been the smallest kid in his, like we go back and look at all the different class pictures going all the way back to kindergarten, all the way up to where he is now. He's one of the smallest
Right.
kids in the class every single time. So he's due for a growth spurt.
How old is he?
He is 12. Just turned 12 last month. Yeah.
Well, have no fear. I can tell you, as someone that grew late, I guess. Of course, it's different nowadays. Like I said, there's an eighth grader that's 6'2". That was very rare when I was in eighth grade. But I don't know why. I'm good with numbers, and they just stick in my head. But I vividly remember the beginning of eighth grade getting my, they check in at the school, whatever. They give you a physical. They weigh you, and they take your height. I was at the beginning of eighth grade. I was always really skinny when I was in school, but I was 4'9", 90 pounds, going into eighth grade. By the end of eighth grade, I was 5'8", so I grew almost a full foot in eighth grade.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a growth spurt. I remember my mother one morning. I woke up. My mother said my clothes didn't fit when I woke up in the morning. She said you must have grown 3 inches overnight.
Yeah.
It was insane. But yeah, so there's definitely hope that growth. It took me till I was 13 to really have that growth spurt.
I was watching. You watched the what was the name of it? The Chicago Bulls documentary that came on ESPN about a year ago.
The Last Dance.
Last
yes,
Dance. Did
yes.
you watch that?
Yeah.
What a great show that was. First of all, especially for people our age that sort of lived through that, to go back and watch sort of some of the behind the scenes stuff that was going on. And I'm not even that big of a basketball fan anymore, but everybody was a basketball fan in the 90s, though. I mean, everybody. Basketball was huge in the 90s.
It was that was a great era of basketball. And I know everybody, whenever you grow up, it doesn't matter when you grow up, everybody thinks their era is the best. But the 90s basketball, 80s basketball, man, there was just so many great superstars. I mean, it was a physical game. I mean, those, who are basketball fans that didn't watch it in the 90s don't understand how much it's changed. They'll go replay, see if someone's a flagrant foul, all this stuff. And back then, you clothesline somebody going into the paint, it's just a normal foul.
Yeah.
It's just a lot different. There wasn't all these threes. It wasn't just run down the court, jack up a three. That's not the way it played. They actually moved the ball around. There was actually centers that posted up. But
somebody like Charles Barkley in today's game, somebody like Charles Barkley would never make it into the second half of a game.
No,
he'd have his 5 fouls. He'd be done or whatever it is. I think it was Scottie Pippen. They were talking about in that Last Dance. Maybe it was someone else, but I think it was Scottie Pippen. They were talking about when he was in high school and college. But basically, he was a bench player at like 6'1", and then the next year he showed up and he was 6'8".
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah. Man, he did wrong, didn't he?
Yeah, by the Bulls.
Yeah,
he did.
They should have redone his. I mean, I get it. You signed the contract legally; they don't have to do anything. But man, it just seems like the Bulls were printing money in the 90s. I mean, it seems like they could have done something to take care of him.
I'm sure they could have.
That was a shame, and I didn't know anything about that at the time. All that going on, maybe nobody did. I don't know, but watching that documentary, I was like, damn, man, they can't take care of Scottie Pippen. Like, what's up with that? And then he basically threw a game or refused to go in or whatever. Now, I don't agree with that either.
That was against the Knicks. I remember that. He would not go in because the last play was on the trial for him in '94. It was drawn up for Kukoc. Of course, Kukoc comes in and hits it. And of course, I was there. Pretty sure I broke something when Kukoc hit that. I mean, the Knicks is devastating the Bulls. And finally, Jordan was retired. I'm like, this is our chance. Like, we could go up 3 games to none in this series and finally end it. The Bulls have no business being on the court against us. And I'm like, trying to get that shot. I'm like, come on. Oh, I was pissed. But that's funny. I was talking about Tom Brady. I guess it's the same thing for me because I hated Michael Jordan. Watching him beat the Knicks every year. But then once he retired, I was like, God, this guy was just unbelievable. I mean, he's a, you know, generational talent. He transcended everything. I mean, everybody knew who Michael Jordan was. You know, there's very few athletes that transcend generations and just every other sport. Like, he was just the man. You know, he was Elvis.
Do you buy into or believe even a little bit that it's a possibility any of that conspiracy stuff involving the gambling and him leaving the NBA for a couple of years and all that? Do you buy into any of that at all?
A little bit. I don't know how much I agree. It was a weird time for him to retire. He was in the prime of his career. They just won 3 championships in a row. It was an interesting time for him to just say, you know what, I'm going to go play baseball. But that just shows you how great he was, that he can go and compete at a AA level. I don't think a lot of people understand, you know, if you're not a big baseball fan, that it's not AAA that has the most talent. The AA division in the minor leagues is the most talent. That's where your high draft picks go, your biggest prospects. The AAA is pretty much for, you know, veterans that just aren't good enough to play in Major League Baseball anymore, and, you know, prospects that just are never good to make it. That's pretty much what AAA is.
Yeah.
But AA is where your best prospects are.
Yeah.
So Jordan was playing against the best, and I think his last year there, he hit like 270 and stole 35 bases. So if Jordan was a full-time baseball player, he would have been a great baseball player.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because he's another guy that just has that work ethic.
Any minor league baseball teams up where you're at? I know you're a Yankees fan, but you live several hours away from New York City.
Yeah.
Is there minor league baseball up where you're at?
There is. When I was young, they had the Auburn Colony Yankees here, which was great. They moved in the 90s, so they moved my senior year in high school, which sucked. But now they have the Troy City Valley Cats. That is the Houston Astros single-A ball club. So that's a low-level minor league ball club, but they are there. Like Jose Altuve played there, George Springer played there, Hunter Pence went through there. So Roger Clemens' kid pitched there. So yeah, that's still there.
Yeah,
that is there. That's our minor league place.
You go to many of those games?
I've only been to a couple.
Yeah.
I probably should go to more of them, but, you know, I'm very busy and important.
Of course, yes. You're preaching to the choir, sir. You're preaching to the choir.
I know. Speaking of Jordan, you said you have a PSA 8 Jordan rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see what those are selling for, sir.
Well,
that could buy a few Jeeps.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they're about $30,000.
Oh wow. Yeah, that was I think I've told this story before, but how lucky was I? But from the time I was in maybe 5th or 6th grade to pretty much my time through high school, my grandfather owned a baseball card shop.
Yep.
I mean, what a dream for a kid. And you have to understand, you know, this was a long time ago. Where people right now going, "What's a baseball card shop?" But this was before the internet. You know, if you wanted a baseball card, you went to a baseball card shop or a baseball card show at some hotel that was in your area. I mean, it was I mean, it was amazing. And my grandfather opened up that baseball card shop, and I mean, I thought I was the luckiest kid alive. I mean, I worked out there every weekend during the school year, and then during the summer, I worked out there every day. I mean, I absolutely loved it, and he pretty much sunk his entire life savings into that thing. I mean, he had a great time with it, but this was in Augusta. There was a card shop in Columbia, South Carolina, that had old unopened boxes of the 86, 87 Fleer, and they were $75 a pack. And this was sort of the beginning of the where you had to start looking out for fakes. Color printers were affordable, just becoming affordable for everybody. The whole thing where you would take the hair dryer to open up a pack of cards, search it for good ones, and then close it back. I mean, you had to be careful, especially when you're talking about paying $75 for a pack of basketball cards. But he knew this guy. He trusted this guy, and he pulled. As soon as he pulled his first Michael Jordan, he knew the guy was on the up and up. And so every couple of weeks, he would drive up there, and he would buy a box or whatever he could afford of those 86, 87 Fleer. And over time, he got one for every grandchild. And as we all graduated high school, and I was the oldest grandchild, so I was the first one to graduate high school, he gave me that Michael Jordan. And then every single grandchild that graduated after that, he gave them one too. And I had that thing sitting in a shoebox in a dark closet somewhere for 25 years. And I took it out a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, and sent it off to the you know what I'm talking. You have to get your cards graded nowadays because there's so many fakes floating around.
Exactly.
So there's a handful of companies you can send your cards off to, and they have certified experts or whatever it is that will basically study the card with a microscope. They test the paper that the card is made out of, everything to certify that it's legitimate, and then they grade the card on how beat up it is or in what kind of shape it's in, usually on a scale of 1 to 10, and this one's an 8. But I'll never get rid of it. I'll probably give it to Lou Jr. when he graduates high school.
Do you know what he said $75 a pack?
75 a pack.
A pack. You know what a pack, one pack of those sell for now?
Oh God, I couldn't even guess. $300?
$6,000.
Oh my God.
One pack of 86, 87 Fleer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw somebody put steroid arrows suck the value out of baseball cards. That's just not true. I working in being part owner in a card shop, doing card shows, being in this, the card market for 32 years. I've seen a lot of ups and downs that happens, but one of the biggest misnomer, I can remember people coming into the shop and they would bring in, like a collection or the cards they've had since they were kids or whatever. So many people that didn't know about the sports card market or weren't into it, they just kind of found these cards. They would tell me if this is good. You said you were a salesman at one point, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so tell me if this is a good way to lead when you're trying to sell something. They would walk in, and the first words out of their mouth were, "I know the sports cards aren't worth anything anymore." Now, why? Now, if you're saying that, you're like saying, "I got a bunch of worthless shit here."
Yeah.
Why would you want to give them any money for that?
Right.
I know sports cards aren't worth anything anymore, but I found these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything I know today about buying a car, I learned by buying baseball cards when I was 11 and 12 years old at these card shows. Negotiating and, because they always have the price they want and then the price they're willing to take, and you meet somewhere in the middle. And you'd go to these card shows and there'd be 15, 20, 30 different vendors set up in one of these conference rooms in a hotel. And you just go from table to table. And I mean, man, what an experience that was. So much fun. I spent so much time with my granddaddy. We traveled all over the Southeast going to these card shows, and what a great time that was.
Definitely. Christy, I see she said I have several unopened packs of Topps cards. If you want to ever find out the worth of anything, go to eBay and search completed sales. Don't look at what people list things for, because you could take a dollar card and list it for $1 million. It doesn't make it $1 million. Look at completed sales. That'll always give you the market value of anything, because that's what people are paying for them. And I know you know this, when you were growing up, you had the price guide, which came out every month. And it's just different now. The card market's like the stock market. I've never seen it like this. It's insane. I have a 2009 Stephen Curry Topps PSA 9 card. I bought it for $175 2 years ago, and they sell for $4,000 right now. That's a card from 10 years ago. It's not even a 10. It's a 9, and it's $4,000. I've never seen it like this. It is insane where the card market is right now. Yeah. Well, I love it, man. It's starting to price me out of it, though. These things are ridiculous.
What's hot now in the card market?
Oh man, what isn't hot? I would say though, I mean NBA stuff is. I would say that's the hottest stuff. And the NBA is just because that's more global than any other sport in this country.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know this from doing the Laker games. I mean, I see people from the Philippines. Obviously, is a big that's a big support system of the Lakers teams. But man, people are in the Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, India, Hong Kong, Canada, Mexico. Like, it's just Australia, New Zealand. It is. That's a very global game because a lot of basketball players come from different countries now, especially in Europe. You know, it's a big thing. So basketball definitely, I think, is probably the hottest. For like newer stuff, I would think that is. Yeah, there you go, right there. There you go.
Now this guy had it for $69.9. Best offer was accepted, but that's an 8.5. Look at the prices of some of these things. This is insane. $39,999 somebody paid for a 9.
Yeah, those are BGS. Like, search PSA because BGS is a level lower than PSA. So search PSA 9. See if you can even find a PSA 9.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah, those are all BGS though. Put PSA 9 in your search engine. Oh, there's one right there. An 8.5. Yeah, put like PSA 8 in there. And then when you go up to the top, put recent. Sort them by recent sales, where it says price. Oh, you have highest. Okay, that's fine. Oh, there you go. 20. Well, that you don't have
unreal. This is unbelievable. The prices of these things.
I told you, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
God. Yeah. Is that the is as far as modern times go? Is that Jordan card the one to have, or is there something that's more than that? That's not a Honus Wagner or 50-year-old Mickey Mantle or something? Is there something that's more than this?
Oh God, yeah. I think that there might be. Well, again, that's an 8. So if you go to a 10, I mean, who knows? The grading has a lot to do with everything. But the Jordan one is the modern. I mean, that's obviously the modern day basketball card to have.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. But I mean, even if you look at like Giannis from the Bucks, like you look at his rookie, or Luka Doncic, they're the same thing. They're tens of thousands of dollars. And of course, there's just so many different variations of those cards because there's so many different companies now.
Yeah.
That is the only Michael Jordan rookie that there is that 86, 87 player. You know, they didn't have Panini Optic, Panini Donruss, Panini Score, Upper Deck, Tops, whatever. There's 50 different products now that have Luka Doncic rookies, but there was only that one Jordan.
Do you buy like new packs or boxes of cards every year when they come out, or do you only buy individual single cards off the market somewhere?
I really just buy individual cards. This year, actually, I got back into hockey, which I haven't watched religiously in a couple of years. But my buddy John, hockey on YouTube, he was on the channel right after you were. Really good kid, and he got me back into hockey because he's like me. He's just really hyper when he has games. I'm like, oh, I can get on board, and he gets really ticked off when his team loses. I'm like, this is like my long ball snapper or something. This guy is just like me, so. I really enjoy his streams and his content. He's really good. So this year, I know the Rangers had the first pick, and they, there was almost now Alexi Lafreniere hasn't been good for the Rangers so far. He's played better, but he only has one goal. That's his only point. So people are calling him a bust and everything else. But before the season started, I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a box of 2021 Upper Deck and try to get a Lafreniere rookie. I've never bought a box of hockey in my life, and sure enough, I pulled one. So that was pretty cool. The only other boxes I buy one every year. I buy a box of Bowman baseball for my son, and I don't open it. I just keep it sealed, and I just put them aside. But It is very rare for me to buy a box of cards. I really just buy single players.
Yeah. Somebody, who is this? Is this Christy? Christy in the comment section has a question. I think I asked you about this maybe the last time you were on the morning show. When Kobe Bryant passed away, and this is pretty common, right? All of a sudden, everybody wants his stuff, and so it goes up in value. Do you have some Kobe Bryant stuff?
I do have one. I do have one Kobe Bryant card. He started to trend up before that happened. Here's another example of how much the card market has skyrocketed. And when the whole COVID thing hit and everything shut down, eBay's dangerous because eBay is right there. And you could just go to town on eBay, and the next thing you know, your credit card bill comes in the mail. You're like, what?
Uh-oh.
But I was like, you know what? I started buying basketball like in March. I didn't really buy a lot of basketball. I had the Jordan. I had a Larry Bird, Magic Johnson rookie. I have a Dr. J rookie. I have a Jerry West rookie. Those are pretty much the only cards I have. And I started buying basketball. I bought a Kobe Bryant rookie, PSA 996 tops, for $191. No, the last one sold for $1,650.
Wow.
So the Kobe Bryant stuff it's up there, like a lot of basketball cards.
How often do you sell something
I don't.
to support your habit? So okay, so once you
don't.
get it, you're keeping it.
I'm a collector. If I was going to sell stuff, well, I'm about to take the plunge though, because I don't know if you've heard this or not. When I used to go to card shows and stuff, I would always buy, and I still do this. I try to find rookies or something like $1 a piece because it's low risk, high reward.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll see a card that's like $1 or $2, and maybe I think he has some kind of talent, or maybe he could do something, and I'll get some, the thing will go up by 10 times or 100 times or whatever. Like I bought a bunch of Taylor Horton Tucker rookies. He plays for the Lakers. I bought 34 of them for $31 just to see what happens. Well, in 2000, I did this with Tom Brady. That's pretty much going to fund a lot of my retirement. So,
so you bought a stack of Tom Brady rookie cards in 2000.
I have 62 Tom Brady rookie cards
for cheap, probably back then.
They were like, I might have paid a total of $90 for those things.
Oh my God.
that's going. Yeah, that's. I've talked to some auction houses. I think that's going to be the end of that. I don't think he can go up much more.
Yeah.
So that was yeah.
That's the modern day. That's the modern day version of I found a shoebox of cards in my granddaddy's attic.
It really
Isn't
is.
it?
It's just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know. You know what it was? I hung on to them for a couple of years, and I'm like, oh, they're not nothing. I really just get rid of them. But he won the Super Bowl the next year. So I was like, well, I can't really get rid of him now. So, and even when he won that first Super Bowl, he wasn't the quarterback he became even when he was younger and they were winning the Super Bowls. He wasn't like a superstar.
Right.
So, again, those are things that just really took off the last year or two. A couple of years ago, you could buy a PSA 10 Bowman Chrome Brady for $350. Now they're like, what are those? I'm going to check real quick what those sell for, but it's insane.
Whoa, it's Michael Jordan money. It's Michael Jordan money, sir.
Yeah, $23,000 for a PSA 10. Yeah.
2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady rookie PSA 10 Jim Mint.
Yes.
Just sold for $34,900.
Oh, $35,000. Yeah, there you go.
And you say you got a stack.
Not of tens. No, not of tens.
Oh, okay.
Nines. I have a stack of nines. I have a stack of nines. I have some, a few Fleer. I have a couple of Score, Fleer Ultra. Like they're not all Bowman Chromes. I have 2 tens out of all those ones I have. That's all because the surface gets scratched easily.
Yeah.
So usually it's not a 10.
And you were smart enough, even way back then. I mean, you took care of these cars from the minute you bought them. You didn't throw them in a box. I mean, I'm sure you've got yours sleeved up and all that kind of stuff, and they look just as good today as they did the day you bought them.
Well, pretty much every card I own at the moment is graded like that.
Yeah.
I usually buy them graded. I don't buy them raw. The only raw card I have, and I have to get it graded, is like that last 1 year rookie. I got to get that graded. And I bought a box of 2017 Panini Optic basketball where I got a Diamond Mitchell rookie, a Jason Tatum rookie out there. I got 2 Lonzo Ball rookies. So I have those graded, but it is rare. You know, I don't have anything that's like loose in a box
Yeah.
because I pretty much dumped all my loose cards
Right.
just so I could buy more of the graded stuff.
How do you go about? Do you send them off or do you take them somewhere?
No, my buddy that owns a card store, I usually he goes to like the big shows and has them graded. So
Okay.
when he does that, I'll send them with him. That way it cuts down on shipping.
Right.
Because you have to ship them out to California, then you got to ship them back, and this just saves time and money.
Yeah.
So, but I usually buy them like that. I don't usually send them out to get graded. I usually buy cards graded.
Yeah. What about memorabilia? How much are you into that at all?
I don't have a lot of that because it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
So I just was never. I mean, when I was younger and eBay first started, actually there was a company called UBid, which wasn't quite like eBay. We'd have like 5 baseballs, and then once there's 5 baseballs are bid on, then it would go up like $5 or so. But I was buying a lot of them that way. I have a King Griffey Jr. autograph hat. I have an Nolan Ryan autograph hat. I have a 16 by 20 Junior autograph picture where he's diving into the stands when he made the dive against Boston.
Yeah.
But that's really it. I didn't autograph Steve Smith jersey from the Giants from 2007, but I don't have a lot of memorabilia. I never really got into it because, like I said, it was just it's too much space that takes up. Cards, you can just put them in a box and be done with it.
Right. You talked about when you were a kid, and we all know you're a Yankees fan, and you said you wanted to be Don Mattingly. Who were some other baseball players outside of the Yankees when you were growing up that you were fans of? I mean,
Tony Gwynn.
Okay.
I freaking love Tony Gwynn. That guy so underrated. Tony Gwynn, Cal Ripken. Big fan of Cal Ripken. Trying to think of who else back in the Barry Larkin. I like Eric Davis. Eric Davis is one of my favorite players of all time. I loved Eric Davis. Dale Murphy for the Braves. I was always a big Dale Murphy fan. Paul Molitor. There's a lot of George Brett, even though he used to kill the Yankees. Love George Brett. So, I mean, there was pretty much your all-stars. I was a big Oral Hershiser fan growing up. Darryl Strawberry, who, when he was on the Mets, I was, God, I wish the Yankees had him. Of course, they did end up with him later on in his career. But I just love the game of baseball. And that's just, I love so many players. I just hate the Red Sox. Other than that, man, you're going to never find me rooting against somebody else or whatever. The 80s are just great time for sports.
You ever been to a game at Fenway?
That guy now.
You ever been to a game at Fenway?
Fenway's a fantastic park.
Yeah.
It's one of the best. It's tight and it's uncomfortable and it's small, but there's just something about it. It is a fantastic ballpark. I mean, it is all history. I'm sitting there looking at the Green Monster, looking at all the dents in the Green Monster, just thinking to myself, God, Ted Williams played here. Bobby Dorr played here. Roger Clemens pitched here.
Yeah.
Jim Rice played here. That's the pole that Carlton Fisk hit the home run off of in the Game 6 of the '75 World Series. So, yeah, like I said, I just love baseball. I love the history of it. So even though I can't stand the Red Sox, I do love going to Fenway. I love that park.
What stadiums have you seen a game in baseball?
Both Yankee stadiums, and I don't like the new one at all. I like the old dump that it used to be. I went to Shea Stadium. I've been to Tropicana Field, which is the worst stadium in the history of sports. I've been to Progressive Stadium in Cleveland. I've been to Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. I've been to Washington. I don't know the name of the park, but Washington was a great stadium. I've been to Camden Yards a few times. That was really nice. I think that's it. I don't really go out west very often.
Yeah.
So pretty much just East Coast stuff. I've never been to Toronto. I always wanted to go there. Just never made it up there.
If you're a baseball fan in the Northeast, I mean, you're a 3 or 4 hour drive or 4 or 5 hour drive away from a lot of different parks up there, right? I mean, you named a lot of them.
Really.
No?
No, Yankee Stadium is about 3 hours from me.
Well, that's right.
Not Shea, Citibank Ballpark, but Fenway too. I actually think Fenway might be a little bit closer to me than the city. They're very close. But then, yeah, I mean, one place I'd love to go is PNC in Pittsburgh. That looks like a great stadium. But yeah, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh.
The first game you will take your son to will be what?
It'll be a Yankee game.
Yeah.
Against somebody. It's a slower paced game. The weather is gorgeous. You know, people ask me why I'm a big, like, why baseball is my favorite. That's just nostalgia. To me, there was nothing like, and I can remember this vividly. You know, in 1984, you could walk right up to the window, get tickets. You know, we never had great seats because, you know, we weren't rich or anything. So, but you walk up there, you get an upper deck seat for $2.
Yeah.
There's just nothing like walking through the tunnel and seeing all that color on the field. You watch it on TV, it's one thing, but to walk through the tunnel and see how bright all those colors are, to see the grass, you know, to smell the hot dogs and the Cracker Jacks, there's just something special about baseball to me. So I think that just stems back to my childhood, why I just love that so much.
Yeah, I'm not even much of a baseball fan anymore, but I can close my eyes right now and just like you said, walking into the old Braves Stadium as a kid, you wait in line, you get your ticket, you go in, you're in the little sort of concourse thing, but then you walk by the first opening and you look down and you see the green grass and the pitcher's mound and the smells, like you said. I mean, there's nothing like it.
No. The atmosphere is fantastic, so I think that's the biggest reason why. And like I said, I don't like this. Like, I hate the winters. The winters up here are long, or they're brutal, they're dark, they're cold. I don't like it. So, you know, baseball is always. I just think of, you know, late May when the weather is perfect up here and it's 75 degrees, 77 degrees. There's no humidity. Got your window open, the nice breeze blowing through the windows. Got yourself a cold beer, and you're sitting down watching the. Yeah, No, that's heaven to me. So when I leave this earth, that's where I'm going.
Have I told you the story about the first baseball game I took Lou Jr. to?
I think you did, but I don't remember.
We were in New York.
You said that he got a baller. He got some kind of prize or something. He got on the bases, right?
We were in New York in April visiting my wife's sister. And we literally got up one morning and said, what are we going to do today? And we were watching TV, and it was like, oh, opening day, Citi Field, Mets host the Braves. And I was like, oh. I said, you want to go? You want me to take you to the baseball game? And he said, yeah. So bought tickets on my phone, and we took the train down to Citi Field and went to the game. So we get in, and we're watching, and it was really a pretty boring game, second, third inning, fourth inning. Fifth or sixth inning, we got up to go to the concession stand, and we're walking around. And these ladies, there's 4 or 5 of them with Mets jerseys on, came up to us and started asking us where we were from and all these different kinds of things. Anyway, turns out they were with the Mets promotional department.
Right.
And they took me and Lou Jr. down underneath the stadium, and in between, I think, the 5th and 6th innings, I think that's when it was, they called him out onto the field by name. And he did this. He had to run from basically right field to third base and then back to right field, and he had to do it within a certain time limit or whatever. And he got down there and he's running, and they're on the PA and they're run Alex, and the crowd was going absolutely nuts. It was unbelievable.
Right.
It was I couldn't believe it. They gave him a jersey and a hat and a ball, and I mean, they gave him all kinds of stuff down there. And I'm sitting there, and I like, even today, because that's the only game he's ever been to. That's the only baseball game he's ever been to. I had to explain to him, like, dude, I don't think you know how cool that was. Like, you could go to 1,000 baseball games between now and the time you die, and that will never happen again. I mean, it was unbelievable.
That's a long run, too.
Yeah.
Right field to third base is a long run.
Man, he had such a great time, and I was like, God, how lucky! The first game I take him to, and something like this happens, I was like, he'll remember. And he was old enough too. This was only 3 or 4 years ago, so he was 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that. So he was old enough to where he'll remember that too. And I still don't think he appreciates it right now, but there'll be a point in the future where he'll look back on that and he'll understand how cool that was.
That was cool.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
That's freaking awesome, because that doesn't happen. I mean, 50,000 people there. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was amazing.
The odds of it happening now, good.
Yeah, they were so nice to us too. They treated us good. We were down there for about an hour. I mean, they gave us whatever we want, brought us something to drink, the whole thing. I mean, it was great. Yeah, it was
cool.
great. That was a good memory.
Definitely.
Definitely glad I made the decision to take him that day. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had a great time. Bad Dog, I'm gonna wrap it up for today.
All righty.
Get out of here a little early today. My daughter is home from school sick today. And, she's still sleeping. She's sleeping in there now, I'm sure. But, and anybody now, if you even cough or say you have a headache, everybody's like, "Oh my God, you better go to the doctor. You have the COVID now." But
it happens to me.
I'm sure
happens to me in my streams. If I sniffle or I blow my nose, "Oh, are you sick? Are you sick?"
Yeah. So. But it's just, I mean, she, you know how you'll figure this out. Oh, does Bad Dog do day school or anything like that? Little Bad Dog?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Next year he'll do preschool, but he still goes to the babysitter every day.
Okay, so you'll figure it out next year, but he'll pretty much stay sick from the time he's 3 to the time he's 9. So. In and out of these schools, they pass around every virus that comes around. So one of my 2 kids almost always has some type of a cold, and I'm sure that's all it is. But Bad Dog, all joking aside, I do know you are very busy. For those of y'all that don't know, but he basically has 2 full-time. He works a quote unquote normal job, and then he puts in a ridiculous amount of hours on YouTube too. So in all seriousness, I know you are busy, and I always look forward to you taking time to come on these morning shows. You do it a couple of times a year. You're very generous with your time with me, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. That's what I'm saying. Whenever I'm on vacation, I will always take the time to come on here. I appreciate you having me on. And I said when the whole pandemic thing hit and everybody, everything was shut down, and I was working from home. I got to tune into this show every morning, and obviously it was good to go back to the office, but I totally missed being able to wake up and just put on the UncleLou morning show and hang out with the chat and everything else. It helped get me through that whole thing. I was I got 2 hours in the morning where I get to listen. Like Wednesday would come, I'm like, damn it, what do I do this morning? I don't have a show on Wednesday. But I've said this a million times, and you're one of my favorite content creators on here. You do a fantastic job. You crack me the hell up, which is hard to do. I don't laugh about a lot of stuff, but you're very entertaining. You know your stuff. I know how hard you work. Some people don't understand how much time it'll take, because I don't edit my videos really. You have different camera angles. You edit. You play different clips. You do a ton of research on so many of these things, and I know a lot of people just see the finished product and think, "Oh, that's not really hard to do." But if you understood all the time and effort it takes to make one of those videos that you do, I think you'd appreciate it a little bit more. So I know you work in your ass off, which is why I respect the hell out of what you do.
Yeah, and regardless of what some people who live in the Atlanta area might think, people who get any amount of success at all on YouTube, it's almost never dumb luck. It's hard work, and that's definitely the case for you, and for me too. I whatever success I've had has been purely a result of hard work, because it's not like I'm one of these people that can just fart in a cup and get 1 million views. I'm so jealous of those people like EDP and all that. They struck, lightning struck with those people, but most people on YouTube are like me and Bad Dog, and whatever success we have is just because we put in the time and effort to do it. So I appreciate those kind words, and you definitely fall into that category too. I've watched you from the very beginning, that. So you guys make sure y'all subscribe to Bad Dog. He does NFL, college, NBA. He does it all. And like any other YouTuber, you rarely watch a YouTuber because of what they talk about. You almost always watch a YouTuber because of who they are, their personality. For whatever reason, a person will click with you, and you just enjoy what they do. And that's the case with Bad Dog. So you guys check him out. I'm gonna put his link in the comment section again. There, you guys can sub him up. How much more winter up there? A few weeks, a month? What? When does it start to warm up? Is it miserable in March there still?
Oh God, yeah, it's miserable right through April here.
Yeah. The last
Well,
time
just
I
put it this
went to
way.
New York was the middle of April, and it was the coldest. The week that I was there was the coldest April on record in the city of New York. It snowed 3 of the 7 days I was there in the middle of April. The days that it didn't snow, it was a high of 37 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour winds. It was absolutely
Yep.
brutal. And, you get down in the city between those big buildings and the wind whips through there. 37 degrees can feel like minus 37 degrees. It was miserable. So we're heading back up there in April. I'm hoping we'll have better weather this go around.
I hope you do too, because I mean, last year when the gym shut down, I just started doing a lot of running just to stay in shape, and I can remember May 9th, it was snowing here.
Oh my
And
God!
I'm sitting there going, "You got to be kidding me!" I was running every day. I'm like, "Can it warm up, please?"
May 9th
Can
is
it
like
be like normal?
May 9th is like 1 week before the kids get out of school for the summer down here.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's insane. Bad Dog, thank you,
Yeah.
sir. I really appreciate it. This was great.
Hey, let's do it again in April when I'm on vacation again.
Perfect. You just let me know. I'll put you on anytime, buddy.
I got it. I appreciate you having me on, Mr. UncleLou, sir.
All right, take it easy.
Have a great day.
You too. Bad Dog, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite people on here and has been forever. He's come a long way. I think everybody that does YouTube for a significant period of time progresses or evolves over time. But when I first came around YouTube, I watched Bad Dog because you guys know I like trash talking. It's just a part of football to me. He was the cream of the crop. There was no one better at the YouTube trash talking game than Bad Dog. And I'm not even that big of an NFL fan, but I just enjoy trash talking so much. I was drawn to him right away. He's evolved. He can still do it when he needs to, but he's evolved. You guys check his channel out. Like I said, he does a lot of live streams during games, play-by-play reactions, those types of things for NFL games, NBA games, Major League Baseball games, and he's just a good guy. I don't know anybody that doesn't like him, and I can't say the same for myself. But Bad Dog's a good guy, so y'all check him out. I appreciate y'all tuning in this morning. I hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. If you want to be a guest on the show, email me and let me know. I'd love to have any of you guys on. It's a great way for everyone to get to know you better outside of maybe just what we see you type in the comment section, or even if you have your own channel, outside of what we just get to see you talk about on video. I mean, Bad Dog rarely talks about baseball card collecting or his son, or when Bad Dog used to play T-ball back in the day. He doesn't talk about a lot of that stuff on his channel, but you get him on here. You get people on here, and it gives us a chance to get to know people a lot better. So send me an email. I'd love to have some of you come on the morning show too. But crazyunclelou@gmail.com, crazyunclelou@gmail.com. Send me an email. We'll work out a day that works best for you, and we'd love to have you on. Love to have you on. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. for the call-in show, and I guess we have game 2 of round 1 of the worst playoffs tonight after the call-in show. So the call-in show will be from 10 to 11 or so here on this channel, and then at 11 o'clock, I'll fire up the old Xbox 360, and we will stream the second game of round 1, the worst playoffs. We streamed the first game last week, which was Syracuse versus Kansas. Tonight, we have Vandy versus Arizona in the worst playoffs. And then after that, we're going to do the disappointment playoffs. So instead of picking the worst 4 teams, we're going to try to pick maybe the 4 teams that had the most disappointing seasons versus expectations for 2020. So maybe you look at, I don't know, a Michigan, a Florida State, a Nebraska. It was things like that. So teams that are better than the teams we're doing now, but had disappointing season. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So, Bacon and Jet says, look at the picture. I did actually already load that picture up to show. There you go. The Lutang clan ain't nothing to mess with. For those of y'all that weren't listening to the night show last night, Pete is a huge Wu-Tang fan. Turns out Mrs. Pete is too, but they're huge Wu-Tang fans. I know who Wu-Tang is, obviously. But I wouldn't consider myself a huge fan or whatever, but it's funny because we just ended an election period, right? And you see these election signs all over the place, and people will put them in their yards and all that kind of stuff. There's a guy in my neighborhood. He lives one street over. I don't even know him personally. Never met him. But he has in his yard what looks like an election sign. It's blue and white, and it's got the same lettering that I think the Trump signs have on it. And if you just drove by and weren't really paying attention, it honestly just looks like an election sign. And, you know, by the time the election comes around, you've been so inundated with commercials and ads and yard signs and billboards that you almost just don't even pay attention to them anymore. Well, we went to eat at my in-laws' house a couple of days ago, who also live in this neighborhood. And we drove because it was pouring down rain instead of walking like we normally do. And on the way back, we went past that house, and I looked at the sign, and it's not an election sign. It looks like an election sign. Same lettering, same coloring, the blue and the white, but it's not an election sign. What it looks like an election sign, but what it actually says is, we elect a new president every 4 years, but Wu-Tang is forever. And he has it in a sign in his yard. Wu-Tang is forever. And I was telling Pete that story last night on the Lunch Money show, and people started typing Lu-Tang in the comment section. And so Bacon Ninjet made this graphic and sent it to me on my email. But yeah, so shout out to the Lu-Tang clan in the comment section this morning. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I had a good time today. This was a fun show. Thanks again to BADDOG for coming on. And don't be shy. Whoever you are, we want you to come on and talk to us one morning too. So send me that email, crazyunclelou@gmail.com, crazyunclelou@gmail.com. We would love to have you on. I'll see all of you tonight, hopefully at 10 p.m. for Uncle Lou After Dark, the call-in show. But until then, though, I love you guys, and have a good morning.